state. We're here to be talking about the President's plan, particularly as it relates to rebuilding our schools, or modernizing them, and about making sure that we are dealing with our crumbling transportation infrastructure as well. We believe this is a really good first step. It's going to help us throughout our state, throughout our communities, do some things that are critically important in the very near future. Right away, and you're going to be hearing people are ready to get moving on this. Now, it's up to Congress to go ahead and pass this bill. We think it's important to make sure that it's done as quickly as possible so that we're creating safer and healthier and more efficient schools for our children to learn, and better roads, bridges, transit systems for all of us. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, the Blue-Green Alliance is a national alliance of 10 national labor organizations and 4 environmental groups, and we are partnering with many more people. In my capacity as the national co-chair of the Jobs 21 campaign, we have put together a plan. The President's is a part of this. That will help us grow millions of jobs throughout our country, and very important jobs here in our state that relate to 21st century jobs. The industry is of the future, that if we're serious about really reclaiming our place globally, that we need to be investing in and retooling our economy around things like energy efficiency and transportation and transit infrastructure, things like renewable energy and retooling our manufacturing, broadband, so we're really connecting our communities, smart grid, green chemistry, and recycling. These are the things that we're seeing around the world as capturing not just the imagination, but really helping other economies grow, whether it's China or Japan, whether we're talking about places like Germany. And we certainly do not want to be second to none. We want to be leading the world. And let's face it, right now, so many people are hurting. In the recession alone, we lost 7 million jobs. We have 14 million people out of work, and another 7 million that have either given up or who are working reduced hours. So now is the time to take the opportunity to put people back to work and really make a difference in our community. In our work across the state here, we actually have been in communities throughout the southern part, through the metro area, all through central and northern Minnesota. And 2 of the things that we've heard loud and clear is, 1, we need to be rebuilding and renovating our schools and modernizing them so that our kids really can have safe and healthy learning environments, that we can bring down our energy costs, and that we can save taxpayer dollars that hopefully get put back into our schools and make a difference for our kids. And we're also hearing about our crumbling transportation infrastructure. And I can tell you on the school side, we have just a handful of schools that right now are LEED certified, whether it's retrofitting buildings like we're seeing in new buildings in Duluth, or the Kennedy Elementary School in St. Joseph. We're seeing buildings that maybe are 80 or 90 years old, where now you've got kids coming in, where the air is safer, where our teachers are having better ways to be able to be teaching. And frankly, as you're going to hear right now, our workers can say, look, we can make a difference in our community. This isn't about somebody else's community. This is about our kids and our schools. Let's get moving. Now today, we've got folks here that repair roads and bridges and modernize our schools, that serve our communities, keeping our schools clean and serving healthy food for our children. You're going to hear from a 24-year teacher that's helped shape our youth and make them ready for the challenges in this global economy, and someone who's dedicated all his life to preserving and protecting Minnesota's environment. And we are all here to tell you that the investments that the American Jobs Act will create will make good jobs, reduce energy waste, and will save taxpayers money and ensure that our schools are safe and healthy. So I'm going to now turn it over to Jeannie Scar. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jeannie Scar. I'm a physical education teacher at Rice Lake Elementary, Centennial Schools, just north of the metro. I've been a teacher for 24 years, and I'm also the president of the Centennial Teachers Association, our local union. Centennial students and all Minnesota students need Congress to pass the American Jobs Act. Here's why. Many school districts in Minnesota need to react to our ever-changing enrollment. Next year, our school district will be moving the Early Childhood Center to a different building. We're not doing this because these buildings provide a better environment or better learning. We're doing this because it's what we can afford. We're doing it because that's what we need to do. With the American Jobs Act, our school could make the changes necessary for our youngest, newest learners to thrive, create not only a modern learning environment for our students, but also create a setting that's good for the environment. Schools that are good for the environment are safe and healthy for our children. Throughout the state, schools could financially provide Minnesota students with current technology, modern science labs, and internet-ready classrooms to prepare them for the jobs of the future. In turn, that would provide jobs for the present. It would keep Minnesota teachers in the classroom, put thousands of Minnesotans, from construction workers to electricians to engineers, back to work in jobs that mean a decent living for their families. Students that come to school from families that can afford to care for them, learn faster, and delve deeper into subject matter. Many buildings in many districts need considerable renovation to accommodate changes. Some need work just to be safe. Some need updated infrastructure to handle the technology requirements of the 21st century. Others are simply inefficient. And more need new roofs. In our district, we're desperate to find ways to save energy costs and accommodate students with special needs. If we could afford to go green, an average school would save $100,000 per year on operating costs, enough to reduce class size, enough to buy 200 new computers or purchase 5,000 textbooks. Going green is a significant investment for our district and many others, at a time when we're already struggling with large class sizes and less than adequate technology. The American Jobs Act would provide nearly $275 million for Minnesota K-12 public schools. Think of the impact those funds would have. In fact, in Minnesota, the American Jobs Act could potentially mean as many as 3,600 jobs. Minnesota's middle class desperately needs those jobs. Too many wage earners in the building trades especially have been hit hard by our economic slowdown. The American Jobs Act would put Minnesota and our country back on track to face the future. Our schools could finally address the renovations and repairs they've been forced to put off for too long. We could offer our students the technology and tools they need to succeed, and many Minnesota workers would again be able to provide for their families. As a lifelong educator, I urge Congress to pass the American Jobs Act and make a difference for Minnesota students and families. Thank you.
Executive Director of SEIU Local 284. We represent over 8,000 public school support employees around the state of Minnesota. We're here to join our voice to call on Congress to pass the American Jobs Act because modern green schools are healthy schools for our students, our teachers, custodians, clerical employees, food service, paraprofessionals, and other school support staff. Every day our members keep our schools running, and every day they see the need for us to invest in our schools. We need this bill to make these investments, to make our schools great again, and to assure more Minnesotans are put back to work and making them great as well. Thank you. Marty?
Good morning. My name is Marty Straub, and I'm the business manager with the Sheet Metal Workers Union. Local 10, we cover 3 states, all of Minnesota, North and South Dakota, and 4 counties in Wisconsin. We've got a big footprint, and we are the original green workers, if you will, before it was called green. Most everything we do has, energy connotations to it. We provide the heat and the cooling in the buildings, and we have 2 training facilities that we've been working on recently. One is in White Bear Lake here in the metro. The other is in the Duluth area. They're both former elementary schools that have been upgraded. We put new windows and fenestration on the building in the metro in White Bear Lake. We've replaced an antiquated boiler with more modern rooftop heating and cooling equipment. So we not only got rid of an inefficient boiler, we gained air conditioning where we had none prior, other than some few window units that were stuck in that building. We figure that we were saving at least 40 to 50% of our energy costs in that building with the upgrades that we've done. We calculate that we could easily heat 5 homes with the energy savings from that building. We're currently replacing the old furnace that was about half the size of this room in the building in Duluth with 5 residential high-efficiency furnaces that will heat that building and cool it where we had no cooling prior. Again, we figure we'll save at least enough energy to heat 5 homes through the winter in Minnesota with the savings from and the energy conservation from that upgrade alone. You know, there's a lot of energy that can be saved, not just in school buildings. It can be done in private buildings, government buildings, retail spaces, office spaces, anywhere. If you compound those savings, you know, you can look down the road and say that that's probably 1 or 2 power plants less that we would have to build. It reduces the carbon footprint across the upper Midwest here considerably if we were to take and do those upgrades to as many buildings as we can. In that process, we provide a good number of jobs that all have good wages, living wages, and provide health care, retirement for the workers, and we keep that all local. So I would again urge you to push for this jobs bill. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Josh Passay. I'm a field organizer for the Laborers Union here in Minnesota. I'd like to say also that the Laborers Union is a proud partner with the Blue-Green Alliance. We've truly found a connection with the environmental community, which wasn't always the case with the building trades, but we found that we have more commonalities than we do differences. And really our commonality here today and our purpose moving forward is to get people back to work and get people back to work in the 21st century green economy. Since 2005, construction employment has dropped by about 50,000 in Minnesota. In July of 2005, over 145,000 Minnesotans worked in construction. July of this year, only about 96,000 worked in construction, which is a high drop-off in a small period of time. We have far too many skilled men and women sitting on the bench, waiting to get called back to work, and waiting for their chance to get back and contribute and to get back to their livelihood. And the American Jobs Act truly would get them off the bench and get them back to work and get them living the lives that they lived before when the economy was strong. The investment in green schools are expected to create 3,600 jobs in Minnesota. And the investment in transportation will create thousands more. The Laborers Union itself does a great deal of road work. We actually, in our training center, in our apprenticeship program, have a mocked-up light rail station just for light rail projects, such as the Central Corridor. We, as an organization, see that as the future of transportation and within the green economy as well. So the President has offered a first step in a bold plan to secure jobs, create new opportunities, and compete for the jobs in the industries of the 21st century. Also supporting environmental and public health standards. So I speak for our over 10,000 members here in the state of Minnesota. When we ask Congress to act now to get people back to work and get our country moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Botzik. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Conservation Federation. You might say I'm the green link here between blue and green. And I've got a couple of stories to tell you about that. But the National Wildlife Federation, which is our national affiliate, is a member of the Blue-Green Alliance at the national level, as Ms. Clark alluded to earlier. Minnesota Conservation Federation is also a member of the Blue-Green Alliance here in Minnesota. So we've been working blue-green for quite a while. Conservation Federation and the National have been around since 1936, so we've seen some of these schools come and go. And we're very excited about the opportunity to move back into these schools and retrofit them, improve them in terms of energy efficiency. I also serve as executive director of the Minnesota Concrete and Masonry Contractors Association. And these are the guys that hire the laborers, hire the bricklayers, hire the masons, cement masons to do the work on these kind of commercial buildings, including schools around the state. So most of my members have built all the schools in Minnesota because they tend to be public money coming through the state bonding bill. And that's another angle I want to point out, is that if the Congress can get their act together and work with the President to get major portions of this bill done, that sets the stage for Minnesota match money potentially through a bonding bill next year. We could put some money in it from the state perspective in a bonding bill that would expedite and accelerate the work at the schools. We've done that before. I think all you folks here from the media and policy people realize how important education is to Minnesota, and that includes the envelope that houses our teachers, administration, and most importantly, students. We've also made major strides in school buses. I think many of you are familiar with that. We worked with MPERG and now I forget where that's lodged right now, but major school buses have been, major fleets of school buses have been converted as far as the carbon dioxide that they strew out or did strew out at the schools, standing and idling, and that's improved vastly. We can do the same thing in our schools, obviously. And numbers were thrown around, 33% less energy, 32% less water. These are learning institutions too. Not only can we incorporate some of these energy efficiencies into the curriculum, but some signage in the schools indicating to the schools what our value means, the fact that here's how much energy we're saving, here's how much money we're saving. We're allowing, with $100,000 savings per year, to hire 1 or 2 more teachers, or to reduce class sizes was mentioned, things like that. You can make that a learning experience, just like our students learn from having a wetland or a native prairie in their backyard. You can also teach them about energy and efficiencies in the building that they live and work. Just the lighting systems and the new light bulbs. Kids need to know, teachers need to know, administration needs to know what that means in terms of their lives, and hopefully saving some of our natural resources for our future generations. Just in my capacity, I work with the architects, and looking for the magazine, I couldn't find it. This is the one where they talk about the LEED at the college campuses. That's another area, of course, that the state bonds for. We are making our schools of higher learning more energy efficient as well. So that ties right into the K-12 system, and we have, as was mentioned, thousands of schools that our kids and grandkids are in right now. So people are, we heard the story, horror story, when school started, a mold school down in southern Metro. It was delayed by a week to get the mold out of the school. These energy efficiencies, heating particularly, cooling particularly, will eliminate some of the mold and mildew problems. So we are here to support the President's initiative. We think Congress needs to get off their hands and work with the President to get something done. We realize this is a very political time, but we know how important it is, and we'll be encouraging our congressional delegation to stand up and be counted and work with the President to get this done. So thank you.